Thank you, Vicki. That was a pretty awesome introduction. In fact, I think it's the second best one I've ever had. The best one was when the MC was gone. I had to introduce myself. So anyway, welcome everyone. Thanks for being here. I'm happy to give you an exciting update, and some of you probably know some of the news already, but let's see what we've got here. Okay, so how are NASA, ASU, I'm sorry.
You're a rock star, you gotta put the microphone up.
Okay, we'll do that. All right. All right, so how are NASA, ASU, Smithsonian, Fountain Hills, and the International Dark Sky Discovery Center connected? Well, it has been an exciting year. So let me start with 6 months ago. There's an annual Observe the Moon Night. And what that is, it's an event that is sponsored by NASA. And what it is that on that evening, they have locations around the world set up a live broadcast. And what they do is they show images of the moon through different kinds of telescopes from around the world, and then they interview some people who are involved with the astronomy in that area, or with the preserving of the dark skies in that area, or whatever. And so what it is I'll show you the locations here. One was in Rome, one was in the U.S. Space, Huntsville, Alabama, at the U.S. Space and Rocket Center. Another one was in let's see here, South Korea. And finally, best of all, one was in Fountain Hills. So that was awesome. Now, what this was a collaboration with ASU. And so we had the responsibility for coordinating the event, getting the telescopes out there, doing some advertising. And ASU took the responsibility for the live interviews and connecting with NASA. So here's a picture from Centennial Circle, because it was done right out here. And there was a much bigger crowd after it got dark when the moon was out. But this is Rick Alling, and Rick Alling is interviewing me. He interviewed me, and he interviewed Scott Adams, another of our board members. He interviewed Scott about Scott's amazing astrophotography, and he interviewed me about what's the status of the Discovery Center. So that was being broadcast around the world by NASA. So that was pretty exciting. In fact, never in my life did I think I'd be live on a NASA website. So it was a highlight not just for me, but we feel it's a highlight for Fountain Hills. More recently, the Smithsonian and Fountain Hills. We're very excited about this. So a new exhibit in the Smithsonian opened 2 days ago. And it's called Lights Out, and it's all about what's wrong with too much light at night. Well, there's a lot wrong with it. And that's what the 4,000 plus square foot exhibit is all about at the Smithsonian. And what's great for us is that our mission is very similar. So having the Smithsonian address this issue adds credibility to what we are doing with our Discovery Center. I had multiple conversations with the director of that exhibit at the Smithsonian, and we just exchanged comments, suggestions, ideas. It turns out we've got pretty much all the same ideas, and they are doing a lot of static exhibits, which is typical for that museum in DC. Ours is going to be more interactive. This is just, these are some images of what you'd see if you go to the Smithsonian. And so it's just, we can't wait to go there and see it actually sometime and get some ideas, but it's just exciting to have them do this. Now, one of the things I want to emphasize, and I know some of you who are here for Paul Bogard heard about the problems with excessive light at night. It's not just about seeing more stars. It has adverse impacts on human health, nocturnal animals, nocturnal pollinators, and it's something that where there's more and more research kind of pointing those things out. Now, I could give you lots of examples. I know Paul Bogard mentioned sea turtles, and over 100 million birds die each year because of excessive light at night. They get lost on their migration paths, etc. Well, this is the story I always like to tell in my presentations, because this is the one that seems to get people's attention. Okay, so the long-nosed bat is the long-nosed bat is a vulnerable species now because of excessive light at night. And they are a crucial pollinator of the blue agave. So, if we lose the blue agave, what do we lose? There you go. So, I have it figured out this way. once the world runs out of tequila, the world will finally realize we have a problem. This shows the expansion in the number of designated international dark sky places around the world. And you can see that it's growing. And it's categorized by color code here. You can see there are urban night sky places, sanctuaries, reserves, parks, and communities. Fountain Hills is a community. And so that's the blue section that represents how many international dark sky communities there are in the world. Now, this is what the exciting news was for us, because out of the 200 plus designated dark sky places around the world, the Smithsonian chose 13 to highlight in their exhibit. And we are so fortunate that they chose Fountain Hills to be highlighted, and we are excited about that, because there are millions that go through that. I'm going to just share with you, I'm just going to go through these quickly so that you see who the other 13 are. And so one is Flagstaff. It's the only other one in the country that's being recognized, but rightly so, because they were the first designated dark sky place of any. That was in 2001. And Lowell Observatory, I think you all know that Lowell Observatory is there. Actually, Jeffrey Hall, the director of the Lowell Observatory, is here. I think I see him in the back there. There he is. And he's going to be doing a laser tour of the night sky later at 8 o'clock and at 9 o'clock. So if you're here then, be sure to go to Centennial Circle and you'll see an exciting laser tour of the night sky. Another one is Baizé, Japan. And it's the first international dark sky community in Japan. And here's a picture of that area. The term Baizé in Japanese actually means beautiful stars. Bonacord, Alberta. This is a small town north of Edmonton, about 10 miles. It's a population of only about 1,500, but it's the only international dark sky community in Canada. Then there's Ramon Crater in Israel. And Ramon Crater is part of the largest national park in Israel. It's a very unique, a very unique geologic formation. That's why it's a national park. It has all these impact craters, and they're not impact by anything. It's a rare form of erosion, and that's why it's a protected area. Another one is Heian Mountain in Taiwan. It's kind of the highest mountain area of Taiwan. And these mountains here are about a little over 11,000 feet in elevation, about the same as Mount Baldy in eastern Arizona. Albania, Spain, and this is the only one in Spain, and it's north of Barcelona. In fact, it's very close to the French border, so you can see the Pyrenees in the background. Araby, or in English, Snowdonia, is a national park in Wales. It's actually an international reserve. And the interesting thing about this is that Wales has 2 reserves. And the land area of those 2 combined is about 20% of the land area of Wales. The River Murray in Australia is another international dark sky reserve. The River Murray, it's the longest river in Australia. It starts in the Australian Alps, and it's the third longest navigable river in the world behind the Nile and the Amazon. But what they preserved was a 50-mile stretch of the river. It was in 1970, and it was primarily to protect the endangered wombat. The Kalahari Heritage Park in South Africa is one of only 2 international dark sky places in all of Africa. The other one is in Namibia. And if you go there, you don't want to get this close. But the interesting thing about this one is it's one of only two international dark sky places that is managed by the indigenous people of that area. So guess where the other one is? Actually, it's in Arizona. It's the Kaibab Paiute Reservation in the northwestern part of the state on the Arizona Strip, and it is managed by the indigenous people of that area. Gabriel and Mistral, Chile. This is an 89,000 acre sanctuary, and it is an area that is known for grapes for Syrah wine. Now this one I had to look up how to pronounce it, so I'll have to try to remember. So it's Niuai. is how you pronounce this. Not quite the way it looks, but it's Niue. Anyway, this is the only one that has two designations. It's an international dark sky community and sanctuary. And what it is a beautiful South Pacific island near the international date line. And they are trying to become the first international dark sky nation. And I think Paul Bolgard mentioned that New Zealand is working on that too. So that's interesting. And then Val de Oro National Wildlife Refuge in New Mexico is an IDA urban night sky place. And they're not a community, so they can't be a dark sky community. And they can't be a reserve or a park or a sanctuary because they're so close to Albuquerque that they do not have dark enough skies to qualify for the designation. And the best of all is this one. And yes. So this is the picture that is in the exhibit at the Smithsonian. Credit to Becky Bloom of Bloom Photo. And you see it's Fountain Lake, and you can kind of see the Milky Way there in the background. It's a beautiful photo. And so, of course, it's a beautiful community as well. So we're so excited about that, and can't wait to see it in DC. Now, this all ties back to the International Dark Sky Discovery Center. We are working hard to have a Discovery Center here that has a mission very similar to what the Smithsonian is doing. This is not going to be a Fountain Hills attraction. This is going to be an international attraction in Fountain Hills. And it's really going to benefit the entire state of Arizona. You probably saw the news. We had a press release. It was in the Times. Senator Kelly had some nice comments about this. The director of the Arizona Office of Tourism made some comments. This was just in a number of news media just in this last week, along with comments from the director of the Natural History Museum. So it's kind of a big deal, and so we're excited about it. Now what I'd like to do, I'm going to end with, and I don't have time for questions here, but what I want to do is just share with you, many of you have seen this, but it's always good to occasionally be re-inspired by this 2.5-minute video of what we are trying to create.
The future is ours to create. The sciences are ours to teach. The next generation is ours to inspire. And human health, nocturnal animals, and dark skies are ours to protect. The mission starts here in the world's 17th International Dark Sky Community, Fountain Hills, Arizona, with an educational attraction that will benefit the entire state of Arizona and beyond. Presenting the International Dark Sky Discovery Center. Imagine with us a dark sky observatory and looking deep into the cosmos through the largest telescope in the greater Phoenix area. Imagine further a 150-seat inspiration theater using the latest in audiovisual technology to spark the imaginations of future scientists. Envision an immersion zone that captivates the minds of all in an interactive educational experience. And finally, imagine taking young and old on journeys across the universe under the dome of the Hyperspace Planetarium. The 22,000 square foot facility will be a unique international centerpiece of science-based education. Visitors will learn not only the importance of dark skies for opening the window to the observable universe, but also for the well-being of humans, plants, and animals. The journey begins in the lobby as you are introduced to the many experiential opportunities that await. Each experience will cultivate a greater understanding of dark skies, our planet, and the universe. The journey continues as night sets in and magic begins in the Dark Sky Observatory as you view the universe like you never have before. It is a magical experience you will never forget. Help us bring that magic to life. With your donations, the future is ours to create.
Okay, that's, so you are re-inspired. 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 So you are re Thank you so much.